Shut up and sit down.
Alright guys, I'm Dodge.
I'm Andy.
This is Big Mech's Workshop and Paint Studio, and we're about to cover the do a review, of the Necron Codex, because we've got a Necron army. We've waited ages for this one to come out.
He has. I am. I've been hoping that it didn't come out at all.
You're still waiting for sisters.
Yeah.
Still, on every video. If you've found this channel by looking for the Necron Codex, don't forget to check out the rest of our videos, because we do a lot of painting tutorials and a lot of other random stuff, so it'd be worth checking that out and hitting that subscribe button.
Yeah. Which would do us a massive favour, because the more videos and more views we get, the more videos we can make, and the better quality stuff we can do.
Well, the more the channel grows.
Exactly.
Anyway, spent a lot of time last night going through all the changes in this codex, and if you're a Necron player or thinking of playing Necrons,
don't do it!
It's a good codex. It's a really good codex. I was chuffed with a lot of the changes.
A few surprise ones as well.
Yeah, things I wasn't expecting, including some nice new equipment.
Yeah, which is always nice.
Who doesn't want flying cryptex?
Well, that's it. So the addition of new toys is always a good thing. Some of the things in there, what I've been told about, I'm surprised by. Some of the things I think is quite a good move. I've not had a chance to fully read through it, and I'm going to borrow it over the next few days at some point.
That's if our lad don't steal it when he comes around later.
I'm sure he will steal it, but at some point I'll either pinch it off my mate or poke you until you get it back off him.
We're hoping to get the Drakari Codex and do a review for that one.
Yeah,
as well.
we're going to try and get more Codex reviews in, because, well, they're entertaining.
Let's start how we always start these reviews. The artwork in this book. You haven't had a look through it as much as I have.
No. Have we got a copy of the older book?
The index is in the other room.
The old codexes.
You waited till we're recording for this, just a sec.
We can always go back to it.
This one?
Yeah. So, old decks.
And the new codex.
New codex.
Same artwork.
Yeah, bit of a shame, that.
But the inside artwork is quite different. What they seem to have gone for with this one, what it reminds me of is some form of computer game magazine. Not this piece in particular.
That piece is quite comic strippy.
Possibly.
Looks like something from a comic strip, which isn't a bad thing. It's interesting style. Although I will say the images of the Necrons in this particular piece are quite goofy. They look quite comical.
You mean, yeah, the faces do.
Yeah.
They've been over-exaggerated like you would with a comic.
Yeah.
Games Workshop, why do you keep going away from the gritty, dark future that we all love? I mean, it's nice to have colour, and maybe some of the artists you've got now just like working in colour. What was that artist's name? We discussed him before on Codex.
John Blanche.
Yeah, John Blanche's stuff is absolutely amazing. It looks like you've picked up some dirty bit of paper from the 41st millennium.
Yeah, it does look infected.
With an artist rendition of some thing that they've seen.
Yeah. So yeah, the
times are changing though.
Yeah, the Necrons look a bit weird. Their faces look a bit weird. They've got actual facial expressions, which is kind of strange for a robot.
Yeah, especially this guy here.
And this one. He looks really depressed.
But a lot of the inside of it,
that's more like it.
Looks very ominous.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you're waiting to get straight into the meat and veg of this video, we always credit the artist, because there's a lot of artists. If you paint armies and stuff and enjoy that, you're an artist. And we don't think anyway that the artists of this codex ever get enough credit for their work. So we just like to take a few minutes to have a look through the work that they've done.
Yeah. And myself especially, I'm a bit of a fluff nerd. I love reading the stories and these things. So that side of things also is quite important. A lot of you guys out there will probably agree with me that read the stories and the backstory of a 40k is quite important. So that's where the style comes from.
And if you're not into it yet, go visit the Black Library, get some books. They are worth it. We're like 15, 16 books into the Horus Heresy now.
Yeah.
because we're painting all day, so we just leave them on in background.
It just makes the time pass, and you can get a nice feel of what's going on.
I'm just going to flick through what you're talking about.
So yeah, obviously a massive section there about the backstory for Necrons. I know nothing about Necrons. I only played against them a couple of times and never actually had a Necron army, which is one of the few armies I've not had.
We're hoping, because Leon T66 collects Drakari, to get Necrons versus Drakari soon as a battle report, because that'll be fun.
Yes, we are definitely wanting to do some battle reports.
So as it comes to fluff, we've got Necron dynasties, a bit of fluff about each of those. The positioning of the Necron homeworlds and abandoned homeworlds.
Which are pretty much everywhere.
Then a whole bunch of fluff about the different dynasty markings, which I find useful because I never know what decals to put on a Necron.
Yeah.
But they've actually put some in-depth stuff for each dynasty, and they've actually put some effort into making these symbols mean something now.
Yeah, I like that. That's a nice touch. It makes the dynasties a little bit more
intriguing, interesting.
Yeah, intriguing. Individual as well.
Like your chapters for Space Marines, you want to know a bit more about them once you know the difference between them.
And obviously the current up-to-date story arc of what's going off, and a picture of the Ultramarines getting hosed by Necrons, I should imagine.
Yeah, I think it's like 50-50 there. No, that's
Quite
anyone's outcome, but that Monolith will be a problem.
But now you've got your special characters. All the older special characters are still in Imhotep and Luminos Ceres.
Yes, I believe they are.
Oricon and Tarazin the Infinite. I hope I'm pronouncing these right.
So you've got a bit of fluff for each of these characters, and I think
more
do this.
Cool photos of the units. This Death Mark picture is really nice. Again, got that ominous sort of feel rather than a sort of goofy cartoon.
This is what I'm talking about. The old black and white work. You can't see that quite well because of our camera setup.
I was surprised when they released this book, but they didn't release much in the way of new figures, if any. And I felt that the Destroyers really could do with them.
Well, with a revamp.
Yeah, I don't like the look of the Destroyers. It didn't really work for me. And it's just they've always sort of bugged me the way that they look. So obviously, it's just a personal preference. I'd have thought that a revamp on them would have been a cool thing now.
There's only so much they can do because a lot of it's going to be. They build machines that contain their souls, so they're just going to factory process them, and they're all going to look very similar.
So here we are.
We're finally onto
data sheets.
Some of the information and data sheets. Now, before we get into that, let's have a look at some of these point changes, because some of these point changes are great. I just looked at an old list, saved about 200 points without moving anything around.
10% savings, quite a big amount.
Yeah, that's gonna. That list was already tournament worthy. Now it's got an extra 200 points for me to add even more firepower.
An extra 200 points is in excess of a full unit of Necron warriors
with 40 points, 60 points spare.
So, if you're thinking on that sort of respect, you're talking a fully tricked out tactical squad.
I can't remember the exact point cost. But I did make the notes for this, and so what we've got now is the Canaptic Spider was 76 points and is now only 65. I think they've had some rule changes. The only thing that's gone up in price is the Wraiths. They've gone from 38 to 55 points.
But they took a huge increase in power as well.
They did. Their whip coils apparently are now AP -2 and Vicious Claws are AP -2, and both of those weapons are now 2 damage instead of 1.
Yeah.
So 55 points. It makes sense.
Yeah. Compare them to the abominations that are mutilators. And
you have to compare everything to Chaos, don't you, Andy?
Because it's a book I know.
That's fair enough.
If you compare them to something like a mutilator, you're looking. It's like mutilators just don't get used. I don't know anyone who's ever used mutilators. They look terrible, and in game they're just tragically bad. Whereas the Wraiths, on the other hand, look awesome and are damn good now.
What else have we got? They are actually. We'll get to those when we go through the data sheets. I'm just going to run through these point changes for you guys so you know what's coming. So we've done the Wraiths. The Cryptex have gone down by 16 points. They were 86. They're now only 70.
That's nice. Seems like characters are taking a bit of points drop across the board now.
It does actually. A lot of the characters have been dropped in points. I think that's great. You're going to get more characters on the board with special abilities for manoeuvring around. Deathmarks have took a 1 point drop, so they're 19 now.
But they have become better insofar as they're now troop unit.
Yes, let's not forget that. They are now troops. I can see someone mucking about with that and being like, I'll have some foot troops of warriors, and then the rest of my army is going to be left in hyperspace and just snipe out. Or orcs are going to hate that.
Yeah.
I'm going to drop a unit of deathmarks there on your turn, and I'm just going to... Oh, you can't do that on the turn because the pain boy doesn't deep strike in. But you can just drop that and be like, here's a bunch of mortal wounds for your pain boy, and that's tripled most of your army.
So that's going to lead to some very interesting tactical options for Deathmark usage.
Definitely. I mean, it's best to... You'd be able to get more detachments out of them as well now, because you can have them in units of 5. So I need 2-3 troops for this detachment.
100 point unit.
Easy. That's not bad at all. Destroyer Lords, they've took a big drop from 124 points to 110. The Destroyers have had lots of changes. And they are now just epic.
We're going to... The Destroyers have taken a huge point loss, but we're going to skip that for now because that's going to be that's a massive point.
Yeah, let's stick to the point thing, and then we'll go through the codex with the images and everything. Destroyers themselves have gone down 13 points from 43 to 30. They were a bit expensive, but now I think they're probably under the point limit. They should be a bit more expensive than that with what they can do, but like you said, we'll get back to that. So the Doom Scythe has gone down by 15 points. 205 now.
Very little I can comment about it. I've never seen one in play, so...
The Doomsday Ark's gone from 203 to 193. I think it should have gone down a bit more because it's just not as good as it used to be.
Yeah, the gun hits hard, but random shots.
Flayed ones, they've gone down from 21 to 17, but they lost an attack. Well, there were 4 attacks, they're now only 3, but they have some more stuff added to them now.
3 attacks in close combat's pretty tasty. You're looking at that's a Khorne Berserker with a power sword, with a chainsword.
If you look at there are stratagems for them as well now, so I could see why they've done that.
I think 3 attacks is totally reasonable in close combat.
Ghost Arks dropped from 170 to 160, which
that's the transport. Is that right?
Yeah, it's a transport with 2 Ghost Flare arrays on it.
Yeah, they were always going to be expensive because they are superb. So a points drop on that. I think they might still be a little bit overcosted, although the Quantum Shielding probably a very expensive rule, as well as
Living Metal
as well. And as we've already seen in some of the other codexes, Open Tops is a hugely expensive rule in this edition.
Yeah, I think it's still worth having that points cost. It was worth having before. That's just a little bonus there. You can extra 10 points. Heavy Destroyers have gone from 43 to 30.
Now, obviously, a lot of these points are without weaponry included.
Yeah,
the Heavy Destroyer, though, I can't see being used over much because of how powerful the regular Destroyers are.
That is true. The Overlord has gone from 101 to just 84 points at standard.
17 point drop. That's a huge saving.
Yeah, I think I've looked at the command points and stratagems. I think they're trying to make it a bit easier for you to get more detachments for more points, because quite a lot of the Necron ones cost 2 to 3 points. So a points reduction so you can bring more HQs and everything else. Tomb Blades, I couldn't believe this. They've gone from 24 points as standard to 14 points. That is ridiculous.
Yeah.
You can really just bring tons of units of those now.
With the additional special rules they're getting, on top of the points drop, that is really, really naughty.
very naughty. I mean, their Ghost Blasters are only 9 points.
Yeah.
Add 2 of those on, and you're away. That's a really cheap model. Extremely effective. The Transcendent Katana has gone from 232 points to 225 points. Seems about right. And we'll get back to the Katans when we go through the actual codex.
As for point drops,
better.
Obviously there's other points drops, but we can't go too much into that because we'll get done on copyright law.
Yeah.
We don't need that. That'd be unhelpful.
The Triarch Praetorians have gone... Praetorians, I've written it wrong. I can't read. Shut up, Andy. 25 points to 22 points.
I think we'll leave it there on points.
You reckon?
Yeah. We've got to worry about copyright and things. Which we don't need to be getting into trouble, so don't say anything, guys.
Well, don't mention copyright then. What else have we got? We can get into some of the changes now.
Yeah.
The heavy ghost cannon's changed in price as well. That's gone down by 5 points. The Staff of Light's gone down by 8 points.
It's also improved, isn't it?
No, that's the ghost cannon itself, not the heavy ghost cannon. Twin heavy ghost cannon's gone down 10 points. And there's some new weaponry that we're going to get into. Right. That's just those rough notes. That's the majority of the point changes except for the other war gear.
Yeah. Obviously, you've got all your characters, but pretty much the same guys as before. Imhotep Stormlord generates an additional command point.
Yes, he does. His armor save has also changed now, and he's got 1 extra leadership.
He has an improved leadership, which is interesting because the standard leadership was always 10.
No, he was 9, according to the index.
So he was actually lower than the rest of the blokes.
Yeah, apparently. Unless
Weird.
I've read that wrong. But he's now got an armor save of 2 plus leadership 10. And he's got the Grand Strategist special rule.
Yeah, that's an additional... plus all his other bells and whistles, which...
What I should do is zoom this camera in there. There we go.
Yeah. He's also got the same bells and whistles as you would expect a Necron Lord to have. So he's an absolute beast to kill, regenerates, and has got his normal special rules, which you'd expect him to have.
And that's why we've got the notes with all the changes, because a lot of the things that aren't changed we won't cover. Nemesis. Yeah, I think Nemesis has the same points value as before.
And he also has a random buff, which he gives out.
I believe he had that one before.
Yeah.
Otherwise it'd be in the change notes. So most of the characters, I believe, according to these notes, are the same.
Fundamentally haven't changed.
No. I went through the stat lines and everything else. I think a lot of it is copy and paste from the index. Because a lot of things didn't need to change.
Yeah, well that's it. The stat lines were seemed appropriate for the army, should I say. It's nice to see that Illuminar Serraz has still got his little random buff, what he picks on a unit.
Yep.
Which is pretty cool.
It can still only be used only once per game.
Once per game per unit, yeah.
The lighting on there is not that good. I'll just switch this camera back round. Cheers. Sorry, I'll sort this out while you were flicking through.
You can always just edit this bit out anyway.
But I never do. That's a bit better. Right, so, where are we up to? A lot of these characters, like we're saying, are pretty much the same as they were before. I didn't see any changes in any of the stat lines or their special abilities. But they're pretty solid characters all around. A bunch of them have taken a points drop, but like Andy's saying, we're not going to give you every single points change because copyright. Because Games Workshop obviously want you to buy the Necron Codex.
Yeah.
Which makes sense if you spent ages with a new release.
Yeah, so we've got the other characters, special characters from various different dynasties. It's quite cool that they've got their own dynasty rules as well. So
that is one character that changed.
Vanguard Oberyn, he has an additional attack.
One extra attack.
So he's a bit more of a combat dude than he was before.
Besides that, the characters are pretty much the same.
Yeah. Quantum shielding hasn't changed, which is annoying because it's so ridiculously good.
That is true. Living Metal hasn't changed. Resurrection hasn't changed, so you've still got your basic feeling of the Necrons. This codex, after going through it, does feel like a really good codex, and it matches the Necrons really well.
So, Wave of Command on a Catacomb Command Barge. 12-inch range. Which is basically the Vi will be done for a Catacomb Command Barge, so it increases hit rolls by 1, etc. Obviously, it can only be applied to one unit. But it's got a 12-inch aura, which is very nice.
Yeah. What else is interesting? Overlords, they took the point drop. I think Lords stayed the same and still have the same stats as they did before.
But to be fair, they were always a solid piece.
Cryptex, besides their point drop, they've got access to some of the new equipment.
Yes, like the
Canaptic Cloak.
Yes, it's nice that they've made it either or. You either get the Invun or the Cloak. I really like that. I think that's a good choice.
It's a trade-off, isn't it? You can't have everything.
Can't have everything. It does make him a lot faster having a Cloak, and he improves Living Metal, but you don't get a 5-up Invun on your blokes. It's a tough one.
Yeah, but you're able to give him fly.
It's 6 and 2 3s. It's like, what do you want him to do? Do you want him fixing the vehicles, or do you want him fixing or keeping your men alive?
Well, that's the thing. Fly him along with something else. I mean, Forge World do have some Necron troop choices that are flying as well, so maybe you could buff those together.
Yep.
The weird things then, all like the weird little flies.
It's gonna make Cryptex quite popular. I can see them being used as a cheaper alternative to a Lord.
70 points without any equipment or whatever, that's not bad at all.
Yeah. So you're talking maybe 100 points for a fully tricked out Cryptex, where he's keeping blokes alive rather than making them hit a little bit hard like a Lord would, but it's an option.
Well, that's a very simple Necron strategy, isn't it? Just keeping everything alive.
Play the attrition game.
Destroy a Lord.
Rerolls 1s to hit.
Yeah, the Staff of Light, did that change? Staff of Light their weapon stat changes.
And reroll 1s to wound for friendly destroyers and heavy destroyers.
Yeah, that one hasn't changed at all. It's good to see that stayed in there.
Yeah, it makes sense. He's a destroyer himself.
He still has access to the phylactery, which makes his living metal a D3 wounds regained, and that actually went down by 5 points.
But again, another trade-off here. You either get the phylactery or a resorb.
Yeah, or the artifact resorb thing, which is even better.
Well, yeah.
But he doesn't really need it. I personally like to give him a phylactery because once he's dead, your destroyers lose the ability to reroll 1s to wound.
I think you're probably right on that one.
Plus, he's already a real tough guy.
6 wounds, toughness 6. Very, very tough.
Yeah, so I always give him a phylactery, and now at 10 points instead of 15, it's definitely worth doing.
But he's got, interestingly, very weak weapon options. You can either have a Staff of Light, which is okay for shooting, or a combat arm, which is not particularly useful to him as he's going to be hanging around shooting units.
I'd give him one of the artifacts. There's also options to get more artifacts into your army as well, but I think that's standard across the board.
Yeah, standard one, yeah. On to the next page. So your Necron warriors on Immortals.
Exactly the same as they have been the entire game.
No changes at all on them, so we'll just completely skip that. Death marks are
now troop choices,
although they have the elite symbol.
What? Is that? Have they messed that up?
I think they've messed it up in their entry.
Oh, Games Workshop, what you doing? That's a shame they've messed that up.
Let's just skip to the back for a second, see where we can find.
It does say in the back you can take them as troops. They're in the troop section at the back.
Yeah, according to this, they are Death Marks, Lich Guard, Immortals and Warriors are all troops.
And you've put the elite symbol on them.
Elite symbols. Fix, please!
They were going to make a mistake. There's a lot of work to be put into these bugs.
Yeah. So yeah, that's bizarre. The sniper rifle, what they have...
is the same as it always was.
Yeah, and it's the same as any other sniper rifle, to be honest. Apart from the range.
Which is a really handy rifle. I like the mortal wounds it can dish out.
Yeah, the fact that we can do it from deep strike in the opponent's turn is always
They can get
cool.
themselves within 12 as well for rapid fire.
Yes, because normal sniper rifles aren't, are they?
Nope.
The Lich Guard, nice and tough. Big sort of anvil unit, a bit like Terminators. Hit hard, quite resilient. Guardian Protocols, they also can absorb wounds for your characters, which is pretty cool and makes total sense.
I've never really used them, to be honest.
They tend to go in more of a close combat Cron army.
There is more close combat options now, so
Yeah,
you
the fact that it's doable
play
now.
things off. Flayed ones, only change really to those is the -1 attack. They've only got 3 attacks now.
But you re-rolling wounds.
Yep, I think that was standard as well. The Flayed Claws. Yeah, I think that was the standard anyway.
And they can deep strike, which is kind of cool.
Yes, they can. And when we get to the stratagems, you'll see why that's cool.
Praetorians, for the Triarch Praetorian type units, they are the shooty ones, aren't they?
I have no idea. I've never used them.
So we're showing our noobness now.
It's not a noobness. We've got a Necron army, it's just they're not in them.
And I've never played Necrons. I've played against them once or twice. That's it, as I said. So we've got Triarch Praetorians. Again, a fast, hard-hitting combat unit. Interestingly, I fly, which is something I didn't realise at all. I don't know how they fly.
Also overlooked that one.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a change or I've just never used that unit before.
So if anyone knows how they fly, what's causing them to fly, drop a message. Let us know.
Some form of warp magic.
Magic! Heresy.
I don't know. A wizard did it.
Yeah, blame Rincewind. Yeah, he probably just screwed up a spell and that's why.
Yeah, I won't be surprised. Now the Triarch Stalker is the same. We've still got targeting relay and everything else. The difference now with the Triarch Stalker is it explodes when you destroy it, which it didn't before. Which my lad's quite chuffed about because I'm always running orcs at his Triarch Stalker and it didn't explode. So
vehicles should explode.
Yeah. So now the Triarch Stalker explodes.
It's still got its massive stompy legs.
It has the big four limbs.
Yep. Okay, the Catans.
Now this is interesting. Now instead of taking 1 power of the Catan, they can take 2, but they can only use 1 per turn.
It gives them more variety.
And in the command point section, you can use a power of the Catan, use a command point to use that same power of the Catan again.
Yeah.
So that one's going to be interesting, especially if you're using it against orcs and you're using something like Seismic Assault. I think that's still in there.
Yeah.
Roll a bunch of dice, 6s of mortal wounds, then do that again.
And they're like stat-wise, they're like a Demon Prince in sort of stats, but they explode when killed.
The Deceiver still has his pre-game ability of being able to move things around. That hasn't changed, which is good to see. The Nightbringer, something changed on the Nightbringer. I can't remember what it was.
Probably his gun or his sword.
Staff of the Destroyer. No, all I've got on my notes is that they've got 2 powers of the Catan now. I think essentially they are basically the same. And Games Workshop pointed out that this model can never have a Warlord trait for all those beards that we're trying to stack extra abilities on them.
Yeah.
You've been told now you're not allowed to do that.
No Warlord traits on Catans. You've been warned. Okay, on to the faster stuff. You've got your Wraiths, which have been hugely improved. And they still get to fight with its...
They should have been improved.
Coils.
They're like 55 points apiece now.
If a bearer of fight slain before it has made its attacks, leave its model where it is. So yeah, you get to make your melee attacks irrespective of whether you live or die.
There's the trade-off. They come with Vicious Claws as a standard weapon loadout, and now they're AP -2 and 2 damage.
Yeah.
And with 3 attacks each, hitting on 3s, a unit of 3 or 4, or 3 to 6 of them, that's gonna hurt.
Yeah, it's gonna make a mess. Yeah.
Don't they? Weren't you saying they also have some new movement abilities? I think they can just straight up move 6 instead of advancing.
That's one of the dynasty traits, but that works really nicely with the mobility side of things. It's, they get the additional movement on them. Same stats as before, the 3-up invuln, and can shoot and charge even if it's fallen back, which is horrible. So you can't pin them down either.
So 55 points seems about fair now.
Yeah, definitely. Looking at the points and looking at what they're capable of, definitely well priced. Scarabs, as always, have been there. They're always going to be rubbish, but they're always going to be cheap.
They do have a change. They're now weapon skill 4 instead of 3.
That makes sense.
I think
it's a beetle.
Yeah, with the other abilities, I think they were getting a bit too spammy and a bit too tough.
With dirt cheap, fast unit, perfect for locking up tanks.
And when they're backed up with the Canoptic Spider, they can be a real pain.
Tomb Blades, as we've discussed, have taken a points drop. They have also got Evasion Engrams, which is a -1 to hit roll, irrespective of range against any shooting attack, which is amazing.
So 4+ save and more difficult to hit with 2 wounds.
Yeah.
And because they're cheaper, what I was thinking is all those little extras, the shield veins and shadow loom, you've saved points on your old lists, guys, so just whack those on. You've now got a 3+ save and a 5+ invulnerable save with reanimation protocols.
Or alternatively, you can deny cover. You can, instead of taking the shadow loom, you can give them a nebula scope, which denies cover. Which is
I don't really think that's necessary, because I always equip them with a Ghost Blasters, which is AP -2 anyway.
Yeah, very. It just depends what you're working for.
I suppose
2 wounds and toughness 5 though is fairly tasty.
Yeah.
And
you can have a squad of, I think, 9 still. So
and they're bloody quick, 14-inch move.
Quick and cheap. So they've got a 14-inch move. The weapon's got a range of 24. You've got a 38-inch threat range there.
Yeah.
That's very tasty. So I reckon Necron players will be using those a lot more.
Yes, and these bad boys are probably, in my opinion, from what I've seen of all the changes, these are the most destructive unit in the book.
They already were the most destructive,
but they're so cost effective now. They have taken a 15-point drop, 13-point points drop.
13-point drop and Ghost Cannon's the same. Yeah, Ghost Cannon's the same price.
So what's their overarching price? How do they work out?
They work out about 50 points a model.
50 points a model.
And what you get for 50 points a model is bloody ridiculous.
Crazy. Yeah, they are too cheap now.
I'd even say that, and I'm looking forward to using them because we've got 6 in the unit. So you've got range 24, heavy 3 now instead of heavy 2.
Which they ignore the modifier for hitting or for movement.
Yes, and the strength's gone up to 6 instead of 5. AP -3 and D3 damage.
There's no reason to use a heavy Gauss cannon anymore.
And then re-rolling 1s.
Yeah.
To hit. That's ridiculous. 18 shots hitting on 3s, re-rolling 1s. Strength 6, AP -3 and D3 damage. They're the best of both worlds. You can shred a tank with this if you wanted to.
With toughness 5 and 3 wounds apiece, it ain't easy to shift. And the fact that they can get back up.
Reanimation protocols. They are
crazy.
Even before the changes, my orcs are having a tough time with all those hits, taking them out because of the toughness. And by the time you do, they reanimate. There's nothing quite like getting a destroyer reanimate. It's the best Necron feeling ever. It's like there's an extra 3 wounds back on the board for nothing.
Yeah. It's like, I'm going to show you a bit of a comparison now. Like looking at obliterators, which are are Chaos Player's equivalent. Now, a Chaos Player can deep strike them, but destroyers can be deep struck using relics or stratagems. So that rules out that. They're far more mobile and they can't be pinned down because of fly. The guns are far better because they're more reliable. Yeah, alright, they're
not being pinned down by fly makes them ridiculous, especially against orcs. We've charged you, well now we fall back and we just unload all these guns into your face.
The Obliterator's got an extra shot, but you don't know how good it's going to be. I'd take that one. I'd take the lower strength and the one less shot for that.
Yeah.
Alright, the Obliterator's got a better armor save and an invuln. So what? They come back to life.
Yeah, as long as you've got at least one left.
Yeah. It's just so much better. And you're paying 15 points additional for the privilege of not being as good.
Yeah.
Heavy destroyers, well, let's face it, compared to a regular destroyer, I don't think we're ever going to see any table time.
I think, no, they were in the original list. The heavy ghost cannon's gone from 32 points to 27 now.
But one shot at strength 9, I'd rather take 3
D6
shots.
damage. They're mainly for taking out tanks, but
with strength 6 and -3 save, you're better off with that, with 3 shots a turn.
More reliable.
Yeah. It just makes, fundamentally, destroyers are that good that they're pretty
Heavy
much...
destroyers are a bit mundane now.
Yeah.
And the Canoptic Spider's abilities, I believe, are exactly the same.
They can repair stuff. They can give you a psychic dispel, which is handy.
Yeah, if you equip the Gloom Prism, which
you
be
can
worth
do
doing
on top of its other gear anyway. It doesn't have to lose anything. And it generates scarabs.
It does. It's always done that one.
Which is always handy if you're running scarabs.
But scarabs aren't as powerful now, so we'll see what happens. We'll have to test that. The changes for the Monolith, it's all essentially the same, except the ballistic skill's now 4 instead of 3.
That makes sense. It's a big square tank.
No? Have I got that wrong?
Yeah, 4, 5 and 6, yeah. Oh, BS, no. 3, 4, 5. You're looking at the Portal of Exile, whatever that is. When an enemy unit other than a monster charges, roll a d6, it takes mortal wounds for charging.
Yeah, it was getting late last night when I did these notes.
Yeah, it's like, anyone who's watched any of our videos before will realise we screw up a lot.
Yeah, I could have sworn that was ballistic skill 4.
It's easy to mix the two, to be honest.
Yeah.
But beautifully, they are very slow. It's only a movement of 6 out of 4. But as you can imagine, it's bloody tough. Living metal. It's also a portal, so you can jump people out of it.
There's a lot of different portal abilities now in your command points,
which
as
makes
well.
sense. It's sort of a thing, isn't it?
I'm looking
People
forward
just
to
tip it up out of
seeing if
nowhere.
you've got a stationary army with not much flying stuff in it for Necrons. I'm looking forward to seeing these things teleport all over the board. So
I
you
would
can't stop
love
them.
to see a Necron versus Tau game. I think that would be really interesting because Tau are your classic gun line, but they do a lot of mobility stuff, and Necrons.
I mean, Necrons now
sort of
for games where you got to hold on to objectives are going to be
very mobile.
Yeah, it's like, oh, that objective's got no one on it and I need it. I'll just teleport over there, sorted.
Yeah.
Annihilation Barge.
That's the other kit to the command barge, if I remember rightly.
And everything on there is essentially the same.
Yeah, with Tesla everywhere. A Gauss cannon and a twin Tesla. But you may as well drop the Gauss cannon and put the Tesla cannon and just go for loads of shots, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because it just, the 11 shots with Tesla, you've got to get some 6s.
That's true. I prefer the AP modifiers on my things, to be honest.
It just depends what you're looking for killing. Against Horde units or tactical marines, the Tesla weaponry will work wonders.
What else have we got? The Doomsday Ark we saw discussed at the beginning, and nothing's really changed there except a little bit of a points drop. It's not as good as it used to be when we had pie plates. Yeah,
heavy D6 is an iffy one. It's the same as the Vindicator. I look at Vindicators and think, heavy D6, I'd rather take a Predator and have a bunch of reliable shots.
Yeah, that's true.
But an AP -5 basically means it's carving through armour like it's not there.
That is true. But still, it's a lot of points. When you can just bung a bunch of points into a 10-man troop unit, put them in a Ghost Ark, and get ridiculous shots.
So you've got your Catan, additional Katana, your Transcendent dude. So that's a supercharged Katana, if I remember rightly.
And it still doesn't say in the book that you can't take more than one Transcendent Katana, which my lad thinks is hilarious.
It is kind of funny. And the idea of having a whole bunch of Katans running around the table would be really bizarre. 225
points now. They took a drop. So
4 Katana. You could do 8 Katans in 2K plus change.
And they also have the two powers of the Catan.
And still don't have a Warlord trait, strangely enough.
It has its own chart, this one, though.
Yeah.
So you can have one power of the Catan, if I remember right, and then you could trade that in and roll for 2 different ones. Which is kind of interesting. I'm not sure if I read all that right. Like I said, I was going through this late last night.
Then you've got your basic transport.
The Ghost Ark. Which is always reliable in any Necron army.
From what I can tell, fundamentally hasn't changed. But I do like the fact that reanimation protocols for units on it are still rolled. Because, normally speaking, that wouldn't happen because a unit dedicated in a transport isn't on the table. But
that's true.
That specifically says you get to do it, and I like that. I like the fact that it actually specifically says that because it's happened in various editions. And obviously, quantum shielding, stupid roll. It's immune to volcano cannons. Seriously. Yeah. Come on, guys.
I think quantum shielding's amazing.
The fact that it makes it immune to a volcano cannon, the thing what can destroy cities.
The stronger your weapon, the better it is at, denying it.
It's a volcano cannon!
It doesn't actually fire volcanoes, though. And we're getting into the parts here where nothing has actually changed for the Doom Scythe, the Night Scythe. The obelisk hasn't changed, but I'll tell you what has changed, which I think's absolutely blooming ridiculous. The Tesseract Vault. Who at Games Workshop saw this 28 wound model that's about this big, with a threat range of 24, with a Catan, with 3 abilities of the Catan in the middle, and thought, 28 wounds, 3+ save, living metal, let's give it a 4+ invulnerable save.
Yeah, that's mad.
Why? What? Why?
Yeah, it is crazy.
It did not need a 4+ invulnerable save. I know it's a lot of points, but 28 wounds and living metal.
And also, bearing in mind, its weapons of assault, it's got 20 shots a turn.
It's ridiculous. Plus the Catan being able to cast three abilities at full health. And the powers of the Catan are no joke on the battlefield.
No, they have always been tasty. So, yeah, a 4+ wound on something that big? I mean, it should at least explode automatically, not a roll.
It definitely should, because it's super heavy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a lot of war. It's 25 power, whatever. For those of you who play
it makes
power
the
games.
obelisk look a bit pointless. Take the Tesseract Vault.
Yeah.
It's 500 points, whack it on the table, you'll be able to hit anything. And even if you're doing something else on the battlefield, your opponent's going to be really busy trying to deal with that thing.
But it does take up a huge amount of real estate on your table. I'm not even sure if you can be deployed.
Well, you could deploy that and then deploy some monoliths and have a bunch of your army off the table.
Again, you could go for a Lord of War detachment and just go for 4 of them.
No, don't do that.
Why not?
Because that's horrible. That's nearly 100 wounds.
Over 100.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it is. With invulnerable save. I mean,
and
an invulnerable save would have been okay if it was a 5+. But 50-50.
Yeah, and the fact that it can be repaired.
4+ is...
Stick a couple of cryptex or mechanics.
Canaptic spiders around it
and
and just keep buffing it up.
D3 but on my level metal rather than 1.
That might be a strategy. Surround it with canaptic spiders, surround that with scarabs, and just keep pouring those out and replenishing the thing. That'd be interesting.
So if any of you guys have any luck with Tesseract Vault, let us know. Drop us down a message. Let us know what you think of them.
It's an expensive kit, but it's one of those you only really need the one,
Yeah.
not 4, Andy. That's just greedy. We have discussed the changes.
We have discussed.
But what I can do right now, instead of going through this whole list, is the Ghost Cannon's now strength. Heavy 3 and strength 6.
We've gone through the weapons anyway.
Have we?
Yeah.
Vicious
So
Claw.
obviously we've got the weapon loadouts here, which you're all already aware
There's
of.
only 2 changes that we didn't mention. The Hyper Sword and Staff of Destroyer are now +1 strength instead of user strength.
So now we've got the Codes of War, which are basically their Legion traits, for want of a better term. So, obviously, special characters have specific dynasties. Now, the one I think is the best is probably a little bit contentious or controversial, whichever one you want to go for, is the Neprek Translocation Beams, which is the guaranteed advance rolls of 6. Really coolly though, it can move across models and terrain as if they're not there.
Yeah.
Because it's not them running, it's a teleporter, which I think is amazing.
I think they're going to be so much fun to play tactical games with.
That's gonna leave a very, very interesting army.
Before this edition, it seemed like standing firing line and I'll stand here, let you get close and rapid fire. Now they seem advanced and strategic and tricksy. You don't know what your opponent's going to pull.
If you use your stratagem and you're running that particular dynasty, then it means Wraiths are reliably getting turn 1 charges.
And they are nasty. Yeah.
So it's the one I particularly like. That one. I think it's a really cool one. But I've always been a thing of I'm more of a fan of mobility in armies. Then you've got benefits for your standing still. Getting to reroll 1s, essentially giving them the Dark Angel Legion trait.
Yep.
It's always going to be a good one. That rerolls a hit in combat. Now, obviously, that's very much a fringe one. I think that's not going to see a lot of use as close combats.
I don't know. You can now take quite a heavy close combat.
You can
Necron
do it,
army.
and it can work. It's just generally not working in the Necron's sort of niche, is it? The close combat phase is generally not where they.
That's what I'm saying. You can actually do that.
They can do it
Games
now,
Workshop's been doing that
really
with everyone. You don't just have to play this way. You can play the other way, and I think that's great. Because if you like the army but you don't like the tactics for it, you can just play it the way you want to play it.
Obviously, Tau this doesn't apply to. You can't do close combat as Tau because you're Tau.
Yeah, that's a good enough reason.
You've got strength 5 guns. You've got no reason to complain.
That's true.
Then you've got the advances.
What we're going to do is shut this camera off now.
The Relentless Advance. Now that allows you to turn your assault weapons into rapid fire. Rapid fire weapons into assault, or you can fire heavy weapons after advancing as well, which again allows you additional mobility and keeps your army shooting whenever you want it. And there's the one what's quite clearly the most popular from what I've read or heard, which is an additional -1 armor pen when in half range. I can see that getting used a lot, but like I said, my favourite's the Translocation Beams. I think that's
especially
a really cool one.
if you're running a lot of Immortals with Ghost Blasters. I'll just add an extra -1 to
half
that
range.
AP.
That's horrible.
Yeah, and at half range because it's a rapid fire weapon.
Yeah. So they're all quite solid. I'll let you talk about this because I have no idea about it.
That's a lot of reading. I didn't actually take notes for the stratagems because there's a lot of them.
So there's a lot of standard ones. You've got the additional relics, which is between 1 and 3, as always. To be honest, without us actually sitting reading through these and
Self-destruction's an interesting one.
Oh, you've got self-destruct. Yeah, you can destroy your own scarabs without them taking wounds. You just die and blow stuff up, which is kind of cool.
Especially since you can replenish them, but it is one command point. So,
disruption fields, horrible. Necron infantry can increase the strength of close combat attacks for a turn.
That can, when you've been charged and you're in a bad combat situation, that could really help balance your numbers out so you get to your turn for resurrection protocols.
Resurrection protocols, the ability to resurrect your characters.
It's only one command point.
Why not? Yeah, it only comes back with one wound. Doesn't matter. You've got the ability to regenerate them anyway.
There's dynastic heirlooms, and that's 1 to 3 command points, allowing you to take extra war gear, extra artifacts, which could be quite useful.
Repair subroutines, which is reanimation protocols for canaptic units. That costs 2 strategy points, but the ability to resurrect your wraiths is downright awesome.
Wouldn't that apply to scarabs as well?
Any canaptic unit.
That could be if you're swarming scarabs on something, they've took out most of them. I believe that that could be quite useful if you've had a big unit.
And a particularly unpleasant one, considering how good destroyers are. Extermination protocols. Reroll fail to hit and wound rolls for that unit. For 1 strategy point.
I'd use that on the...
on destroyers?
No, they've already got that if the way I...
All fails to hit and wound. You don't need to give them the thing. It only applies to destroyers and destroyer lords, this one.
Oh, okay. Thing is, I always couple my destroyer lord with a unit of destroyers anyway, so I've got that one. I've got both, already on there, so I'd miss that one out. But if you don't, and you don't want to take destroyer lords, it could be useful.
Yeah.
Oh, did you say all, as in not just ones?
Yeah, all.
Oh, that's what I was missing.
Yeah.
It's
all reroll. Reroll everything.
Oh, I'll definitely be using that then.
Yeah. You don't bother giving them the thy will be done. We don't need it at that point. Reroll
everything. I misunderstood what you said. And it sounded exactly the same as the normal stratagem.
Plus, there's a whole bunch of other stuff which are faction specific, which we're not going to...
Cosmic powers. Use this strategy at the start of your movement phase. Select a Catan shard from your army. This model can replace one of its Catan powers with a different power of the Catan of your choice. So if you
get a duff one...
If you've got some you don't want, it doesn't match the army stratagem, you can just straight up change that.
Yeah. The powers of Catan are all powerful. We're not going to go too much into that.
There's specific ones for each dynasty as well, which we're not going to go into because this video is already running quite long.
Yeah, that's standard for all the codexes anyway. Every faction gets their own. Whether it sucks or not is a different matter. So then you've got your relics. Wow. There's a lot of them.
There is. The Orb of Eternity, Void Reaper, which is just wounds on 2s unless it's a vehicle. Strength will be user. It's just wounds on a 2 regardless. AP -4, 3 damage.
Yeah, that's gonna hurt. That's just a straight up war scythe, yeah?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Gauntlet of the Conflagrator. Is a 8-inch range pistol, can be fired once per battle. This weapon automatically hits, so it's a flamer. And for every wound you roll of a 6 is a maul.
It's not that good compared to some of the other equipment in here. It could have a good place.
Yeah, it's really good against hordes because you just roll a dice for every model in the unit.
Oh, the Veil of Darkness is one of the teleport abilities that you can use once per battle. At the end of your movement phase, the bearer can use the Veil of Darkness. When they do, the bearer and up to 1 friendly Dynasty infantry unit within 3 of the bearer are removed from the battlefield, then set up the bearer and the second unit you choose, if any, anywhere on the battlefield that is more than 9 away from an enemy unit. That is a very good tool to have lying around.
Sempiternal Wave. If you can't think of a particularly good item to give your characters, then you won't go far wrong with that. An additional point of toughness and wounds on a Destroyer Lord, or a Command Barge.
And the rest of them, besides strategy stuff, just seem to be a variety of random weapons.
Yeah, just alternate variants of weapons.
And again, they have different dynasty weapons as well.
Then you got your Warlord traits. Let's see. Now, there is one, what I believe is a bit of a point of
Thrall
contention.
of the Silent King, I believe, was a good one. Which gives... add that to a Lord on a Catacomb Command Barge and increase the range of all his ranged weapons by 3. That can be pretty tasty.
This one I hate, which is Immortal Pride. Makes units within 6 of his Warlord being Mutapsych. Automatically passing morale tests.
That could be useful, especially against your Night Lords.
I hate that. And also can deny psychic power, which doesn't really worry me because Rincewind never casts anything. Yeah. The ability to fight first in command, even if he didn't charge in a combat phase. Nice for a combat ninja, with the improved war scythe.
Yeah.
And subtract 1s from hitting.
I find stratagems like that, abilities like that, really nice just for when you charge in with Berserkers. I need to get some hits in first and thin out those numbers during Overwatch and a bit of combat. And hopefully have enough Necrons remaining to do reanimation protocols, because any Necron player knows once you're out of Necrons for that unit, that's that unit gone. If you can just hold on to 2, you're okay, you can reanimate them again. And that's essentially how they've always played.
Yeah, the ability to refund command points is there as well, plus additional little tricks. So last but not least, we have Warlord traits, and some of these are really good.
Yeah. The immune to Psychers, that's pretty decent.
I hate it.
Honourable Combatant, if your Warlord targets the same enemy character with all their close combat attacks, add D3 to your Warlord's attacks characteristics until the end of the phase.
It's handy. I can see it not being used often, because as a rule, Necrons tend to favour the shooting phase rather than fighting phase.
That's how I like to play them.
That's how a lot of people play them. But if you are going for that down a combat route, definitely worth it. Reroll charges. It's always nice.
Yeah.
I mean, Warlord traits are generally quite flavourful. They're not.
They've sort of broke it up between shooting abilities and close combat abilities. So you got the best of both worlds in this book.
The Nephrek faction trait, which is a mobility one, -1 to hit.
Yeah.
Against everything. I mean, that's a straight up superb. On a command barge, that's going to make him an absolute headache.
Well, the command barge needs it. It's only got 8 wounds.
Yeah.
And my tank busters can take that down in 1 round of shooting, usually.
Yeah.
If they can get past the quantum shielding.
And the fact that it's a character.
Yeah.
So, really makes it hard to kill. Obviously, you've got your command point one, which is always in there somewhere. And the Mephrit, 6 inches to maximum range of all assault weapons fired by your Warlord. Now, this is an interesting one because I noticed something on a command barge character. The character has a staff of light. The command barge has the guns. Now, when it opens fire, obviously the staff of light is fired by him because it says he's got it. So his weapons are affected. Mm-hmm. What about the assault weapons what are attached to a command barge? Is that him firing it?
I don't know. But that's something to argue about in the comment section, definitely.
Yeah. Definitely comment on that. See what you think. I think rules as written, it would indicate that's a separate target. But I would never be that sort of asked to do that, and it's like I just let it ride. But what do you think?
Yeah, do let us know. That's what the comment section's for.
Yeah.
We don't play Necrons that often. Well, I don't.
And we're not particularly competitive players. I like to play in tournaments, but I'm not a competitive player as such. So,
looks like we're finally at the end of this codex.
We are at the end of this very lengthy video.
It's a lot longer than usual.
Yeah. Anything you want to say to us in the comment section, please feel free.
I hope we covered everything that's new and changed. We didn't really go into the new weapons, but I'm sure if you're watching this, you're going to want to get this codex anyway. Definitely worth having. The new codex, the new weapons, just different varieties of the same weapon with different modifiers. So you've got tons more options now.
Yeah.
Playability, more options for your lists, and
a bit more variety.
I don't know if I mentioned in the beginning of the video, I saved 200 points.
Yeah.
Just same list, went through this codex, 200 spare points to play with. So go through your old lists and see how many points you just saved. Cause,
you'll probably find you're saving between 8 and 10%, I reckon.
Something like that, yeah. Which is a huge.
It's a full
boost.
squad. It's a full squad or a new tank.
I'm going to throw some death marks into that list now, take out some characters.
Which slot, though? You're going for the elite ones or the troop ones?
I don't know. We found the mistake that they made. I'm sure everyone else is finding grammar mistakes and stuff. But
yeah, I mean, grammar mistakes I can live with because I wouldn't be able to notice anyway. But the that particular entry error, it does need clarifying whether they're troops or elites.
That's what it says in the back.
It says in the back.
They're in the troop section. I think someone just copied and pasted the wrong symbol.
So it's worth noting now.
So we're going to finish off this video. It has been lengthy. We appreciate you guys watching. If you haven't checked out our channel, check that out. There's tons of painting tutorials and other stuff on there.
Smash that like button, hit subscribe.
And share with all your friends, guys. Thanks for watching.